Alright, evening YouTubers, Chief Prepper here. Thought I'd make a hopefully really quick video. I spent most of the day under the dash of a truck cutting, splicing, and heat shrinking some wires. I got it running. I got one more issue I got to deal with, so it had an electrical fire. So we're all aware of the cold storm that's happening in a large portion of the U.S. right now. So people who live in cold weather all the time, this probably won't be that big of news for you. But this morning when I walked out, and I don't do this every morning, but every morning when I'm up before my wife leaves, I go out and I open the gate for her. We have a chain and a lock, and this morning the lock was froze shut. So the video is about this thing. It's a propane torch. Comes in really handy. So, speaking of torches, this is not a torch, but it's a butane lighter. So, some of you might be like, what's the big deal? Well, the lock was froze shut and it would not open. And then when you have that problem, you have to be careful not to snap the key off. So, anyway, if you have one of these, if you don't, they're not too expensive. Go get one, and then you can heat the shanks on the lock. And in my case, I have some plastic around the outside, so I didn't want to heat that on the bottom. It's a master special lock that's got hardened shanks, so it's harder to cut. So I heated the shanks, steam came out, and I stopped. And then I went and got the leather gloves, so I didn't grab those the first time, and open the lock. Easy peasy. The other thing you can do is if you have a butane lighter like this one, or a even just a Bic lighter, if you have an older this lighter's kind of cool because it has that butane, regular pump, and then it's got a heating element. Basically though, like my new car does not have a lock or a key. It has proximity lock, so you walk up and you touch the door handle, it unlocks for you. So this won't be any use for those kind of cars, but if you have an older car, as long as it's not a diode key, which is a key with a security system on it. I'm not talking about the fob, I'm talking about the actual key. If you have keys, and you would know because your car will have a security system. Anyway, you can't use a lighter on those because you'll heat it up and mess it up. But if you have the old-timey keys, where there's nothing in the key, it's just a regular old key, even if you have one key that opens the door and the trunk and the steering column. Like the Dodge has the old-timey two keys, one for the door lock, one for the ignition. My old 96 Ford does not have a chip in the or a diode in the key. I can use it on that, but basically if your door lock is frozen shut, heat up the key, stick it in the lock. It'll unfreeze it, and you may have to do it a couple times, but when you do this, you need to be very careful not to snap the key off in the lock, because that is a major problem. So, other thing you can use is DeIcer. I didn't have any DeIcer. This is the second year in Texas where we've had sub-freezing temperatures. It's going to get down to cold again tonight. Let's see what the trusty dusty phone says. Supposed to get down to 23 tonight, 27 tomorrow, 28 tomorrow, 28, 39. We're in the 30s until next Thursday. So, just something that I put out there for people who may not know. It's important to make sure you know what kind of lock you have so you don't mess up the inside. So, anyway, Chief Prepper out. Remember, heat up the shank on the lock, not the actual locked area itself.